Enjoying Songkran back in Pattaya. Hello to you as well. I hope you're having a great time. But as you know, Mr. Egg doesn't like Songkran. He doesn't like it. I don't like getting wet. Mind you, I might get a bit wet today. So have a great time, everyone, in Songkran. But this is a little bit different, as you know, or you might not know. I'm in America at the moment for a trip of a lifetime for me. I've always wanted to come here to Dallas, here in Texas, and we're here right now, and we're on Main Street. Now, a couple of things, a little bit of housework I have to do before we go live. First of all, hello all the comments. I'll get to the comments in a moment, but for just now, let me just go through a little bit of housework. First of all, I don't know how much data I've got. I've got about 10 gigs worth. I try to go in 720, which means that we use less data, but we might end up getting cut off. So that's the first thing. Second thing is, it might start raining, which might be a problem, although it does say no rain today, but who knows. Third thing, it is very windy in certain parts of Dallas today. So if I do apologise about the sound, I tried to use a external microphone, but I can't get it to connect, so I'm just talking into here. I hope the sound is okay. Perfect sound, thank you very much. Snow Wizard. Right, quite important really. There are quite a few homeless people that are on the streets here on Main Street. Not everywhere, but there are a few. If at any time during the broadcast I feel that my own personal safety is at hand, or maybe even, you know, I could get my phone nicked or something like that, then I'm going to stop the broadcast. Also, if we go past any music, I'm going to put it on mute. Okay? Have you got that, everyone? Right, there you go. Welcome to Dallas. First of all, can I just say a big hello to the people in this restaurant here. I think it's called the Manhattan. It's 2032 Main Street. Brilliant coffee, fantastic coffee, and really, really nice food. If the portions are a tad large. But there you go. That's Texas for you. It's Big D. Everything's massive over here. Oh, right. It's not called the Manhattan. It's called the Metropolitan Cafe. Really, really well recommended. The coffee here in Texas is absolutely rubbish. It's just like water. But the coffee there, they use a proper coffee machine. So it's good. Right, I'm going to do a few comments very quickly. Sean P. Yeehaw! Gary, good evening, Phil. Take care. I will do. Prep for it. Have a good day in Texas. Thank you very much. Prep for it. Hi, Little Boots. Hello to Scuba Steve and Snow Wizard Eric. Hello to you. Branston Dave. Bernard Purcell. Hi to Andy H. Mark Down. Del. Thank you very much, everybody. Quite a few people. Europa, welcome to America, Phil. Vastly different from Thailand. It is. I mean, look at this for a start. So having said about the homeless people, look at these sidewalks. They're so, like, wide, and there's no one on them. And guess what? Here's something. Here's a revolutionary idea. How about sidewalks and pavements for people, for actual people, rather than people hawking suits and shit like that and everything. Right, we're going to start off with a quiz. We got a quiz, everyone. I am going to ask you about this building here, and I want you to tell me what this building is and what happened here. This one here, can anybody tell me? And I'm looking at a ramp there that goes down into a car park. We're in Dallas, Texas. We're on Main Street. Any ideas what this building is, what it used to be, and what happened here? Any ideas? Jack Ruby shot Oswald. Bill has got it in one. Damn you, Bill. I wanted to keep that going for a while. You can't win. You're a mod. This is where... It's where JFK got shot. No. It's where Lee Oswald got shot. So, now I'm not 100% sure. This building, I think here, is the old police station. It's now called the Municipal Building. And if you look here, it's a pretty spectacular building, the old one here. And I'm pretty sure either it was that ramp there, which ironically has got a big sign that says no guns. Well, we are in Dallas. Or it's round the corner here. It could be either one. So let me, hold on, let me straighten this up. Wait, hold on a minute. There you go, we're back. Let me try and cross over the road. This is a difficult one for me because as I have been saying to the members, by the way, there is a membership area of this if you want to come in and join us from just £2 a month. The link is in the description. Let's come over here. Oh shit! I've got a feeling that where Ruby came in is actually here, because it is now. Somebody said it's been turned into a disabled ramp, and it's a disabled ramp here. So I think it was around about here, but it could have been around here. There used to be a sign here, but it's not there anymore. But there it is, the Municipal Building. This is the site of the very first murder that was carried live on television, and it happened right here, somewhere underground at this building. Great Atla Pub, live in my time zone. Thank you, Mike. Jaywalking, yeah, I know, and there's a policeman here as well. I might be getting arrested. So it might have been there, but I don't think it is. I think that is just a ramp. I think the original ramp is down here somewhere, but it's been built on. So there it is. And I went there and I started talking about, oh, can I come round and have a look around? And they just looked at me like really funny. So there we are. So we're on Main Street. Like I said, if we get any problems, right, I'm going to try and cross over the road because I want to cross over. I want to walk this side because there's a lot of strange personalities, shall we say, on the other side. Here we go. I'm going to do a few comments. I'm really enjoying Dallas, I have to say. The weather, I am English. I can't cross over here. I've got to wait here. So let's do some comments quickly. JFK movie used the wrong ramp. The JFK movie, with all due respect to Oliver Stone, who is a brilliant... Here we go. Don't rub me over. Oliver Stone, who is a brilliant movie maker. It wasn't a documentary. Okay, it was Hollywood. So I'm not I am a big fan of Oliver Stone, but I'm not a big fan of that movie, personally. But anyway, we're walking towards Houston on Main Street. We'll be here in about 20 minutes. Welcome, it's Mr. Egg live in Dallas. How was your flight? Says Hi Tulip. And how long did it take and how many planes did you get and what airlines did you use? Good questions, Hi Tulip. So I went on Korean Airlines, 2 planes, first of all from Bangkok and then from Bangkok to Seoul to Dallas, Texas. So I used 2 planes. The first flight was brilliant. Lot of leg room in Korean Air. Lots and lots of leg room. The food was okay, but really, really comfortable. The second plane, which went from Seoul to Dallas, which was a 12-hour flight, I think. It was a smaller plane. It was not a 777, it was the one down from a 777. And it was nice leg room, but it was a bit old. The entertainment system wasn't the best. The food wasn't the best, but it was okay, if you know what I mean. But would I recommend Korean Airline? Absolutely, especially for going to Seoul. But the long trip, it was okay. I managed to sleep because you know what I did? I took some of those Tiffy. You know those pills you can get in Thailand called Tiffy, Tiffy, for colds and stuff, and they always make me really, really drowsy. So I just took a couple of them, and I got some sleep. Here we go. I'm going to cross over here. So if you want to watch me on Google Maps, we're on St Paul's and Main. Whatever you do, never fly a Boeing. Thank you, Bill. He's obviously keen on the Airbus. The Airbus, of course, built in socialist France. 27 hours inside info. Yeah, the whole journey took, well, I actually got to Dallas in about 26 and a half hours, and it was a little bit longer to get to Dealey Plaza, but it was about 26 and a half hours door to door. Could have been on a set. Okay, I think we're okay. Nice to have a few people watching. We're live in Dallas, Texas, and we are walking towards Dealey Plaza. There's a very, very strange gentleman walking towards me who is, I think I might have to cross over the road. Yeah, because he's talking to himself. Oops, let's come over here. On Main Street itself, there's not a lot of sort of steakhouses and stuff. There's a lot of, I think he's just talking on his phone. Okay, he's gone. I'm going to cross over again. I've got to dodge all the nutters because I'm convinced I'm going to get my phone stolen. And you all want to see that, don't you? Yes. Egg comes to no good. There's not a lot of steakhouse, a lot of Irish bars and a lot of Italian restaurants on Main Street. But one thing I've got to say, and that is that the public transport is pretty shit here. The actual trains really are just full of homeless people, and there's a smell of urine in every single carriage. That's the train going from the airport to Texas, to Dallas. I wouldn't really recommend. If I came back here, I'd got a full license. I've only got a temporary license at the moment, so I couldn't hire a car. But I would get my international and I would hire a car. Really, it's a bit disappointing. This massive, great, big, rich state has got such poor public transport. But there you go, everyone drives a car here. So never mind. Couple of comments. Hi Phil, what takes you to Dallas? Paul, I'm not a big fan of Songkran, so I wanted to come away, and I am quite keen on the history of the Kennedy assassination, so I wanted to come here and see a few of the sites. It was my number one bucket list item. It gets a bit moody around here, so if I suddenly hide my phone, you'll understand. I hope you do. Hi. Couple more comments. Chris Card, hi to you. Europa public transportation is an afterthought in America. I didn't get that feeling in New York when I was there twice, and that was like 10 years ago. I thought like the metro system and everything was brilliant, but it's just around here. I just think it's an oil-rich place, and I just think everybody expects you to travel by cars. Dallas Police. Hello, sir. I wish they could come with me and just protect me. Please, come with the egg. Dallas has a Republican mayor. Thanks for the comment, but I'd really rather stay away from all the sort of the American political situation. I haven't discussed it at all over here, and you can chat. I'm not stopping anyone chatting, but up to you. On my left-hand side at the moment is, I won't say an exhibition, but it's a part of Main Street here which is dedicated to the memory of black people that were lynched and hung from trees in the 17th century and 18th century. And there is an exhibition there, and they are putting up, as you can see, streamers and banners to commemorate that and to keep those people in the memory. There were quite a lot of people here giving out leaflets and information about that historical event a couple of days ago, but they're not here today. It's Monday morning. Be careful, you don't want to be scrambled eggs indeed. Dale and Bill, can we just put an end to the political talk, please? I'd rather just keep it on a level, because you might be seeing Egg get run over in a minute. Thank you. Right, we're live on Mr. Egg's Dallas tour, and we are heading very quickly towards Dealey Plaza. If anybody isn't aware, that's where this 35th President Kennedy was assassinated. And I know everybody's got their own feelings about that particular event. For everybody you talk to, they've got a different feeling about it. But I'm more interested in it from a kind of a historical point of view. I've been to a few historical sites over the last few days. Very sad. For those of you who don't know, I went to, after President Kennedy was shot with Governor Connolly, they went to Parkland Hospital, which was at the time a bit of a brand new hospital in northwest Dallas. And the original building where President Kennedy died, where Lee Oswald was took after he was shot, and where we've just shown you died, where actually Jack Ruby died there as well, because he died of cancer. He died an innocent man, by the way, Jack Ruby. He was found guilty in his original trial of shooting Oswald, but his conviction was overturned because he successfully appealed. It is a bit windy here, folks. I'm sorry about the sound quality. He successfully appealed because he said he didn't get a fair trial because it was in Dallas. And he was actually awaiting a retrial when he got cancer and died. Hey, Phil, I've heard if you live in the past, you die in the past. Yes, Steve, correct. But it's always nice to be in touch with your history, Steve. How are you? Nice to hear from you. There's an Irish pub here on the right-hand side, which is called Patrick Kennedy's, which is a nice little tribute. About 3 or 4 months before, just before I go on, there's something going on here, because this is a live setup, an OB for Fox News. And they're outside this building here, the one building. And let's come round. And it's a nice setup. They've got a bit of a better rig than me, but I'm not sure. Look at this. So nice. So I have no idea why they're broadcasting or what they're broadcasting, but if you tune into Fox News, it's a local Fox station. They'll be on later. So Patrick Kennedy's, interestingly, about 3 or 4 months before President Kennedy was assassinated, they lost both, obviously, Jackie and JFK lost a son who was born prematurely. He lived for about 2 or 3 days, but died, and his name was Patrick. So, you know, that definitely a very traumatic time for both President Kennedy, but also, of course, the First Lady, having suffered that loss, having carried a child, lost, and then having a husband assassinated. It must have been absolutely awful for Mrs. Kennedy. So, let's continue. Thank you everybody for tuning in. It is much appreciated, and I hope you're enjoying the stream. I'm sorry I'm not walking down Soy 6 watching all the Songkran festivities, but you've got other channels for that. Right, we're ready to cross that road. This is actually the route, or the route if you're American. Are we ready? I'm looking. The Green Cross Code man, remember him? I've been remembering him the last few days. This is actually the route that the motorcade in 63 took here. You need to know history so you can... Oh, right, thank you. Right. Let's continue. I'm good. I'm good. And we're getting pretty close to Dealey Plaza now. Dealey Plaza, you can just about see in the left-hand side there. First time in Dallas? Yes! First time outside, I've been to New York twice, but I've never been to anywhere else in America, so it is my first time in Dallas. And I'm sorry about the sound quality, we'll go a little bit here. It's windy, and it's been in the 30s here in Texas, but it's only 24 or something. It feels a little bit colder than that actually. We're getting near to the courthouse, which is the building you can see on the left-hand side, in the foreground, and that is the courthouse actually where Jack Ruby's trial took place. It is a preserved building, but it's closed, and there's nothing going on there. But it is at the point at which the motorcade turned right before it turned left, and then into Elm Street. So it's nice to have you all on board. Have you been to the Grassy Knoll, Chris? Yes, we're going to go there now. Randomly caught the live. Thank you. That is Alan Mack. Hi, Alan. We're going to go to the Grassy Knoll now. We're on the way. It's about 10 minutes. We'll be there. You can see it all. We can look for. Sorry about the wind and the sound quality. We can look for bullet holes. No problem. I was just in Dallas for the eclipse. Says DC57. I would have loved to have seen that, man. Had I known that, I should have done my research really. I would have come a few days earlier, although I'm pretty sure, here we go, run. The prices are a bit more. Okay, I've got a question for Americans, or particularly Texans. Why is it that many cars haven't got a license number plate on the front of their vehicles? Because I'm seeing this all the time and I'm a bit confused. What, could you answer the question, why do some of the vehicles not have a license plate on the front? Because I'm thinking, oh, they've been stolen or something, or they're trying to avoid, I don't know, maybe they're doing bad things, but who knows? It's a state thing, says Steve. Thank you, Steve. Some places don't require it. Interesting, didn't know. People are lazy. It's technically illegal, says DH57, for a car in Texas not to have a front plate. Front plates are not required, Steve. Interesting. For those that don't know, so there's obviously the Stars and Stripes, the American flag, the United States of America, and the Texas flag there, which has the one star. And it is, you see on almost everybody's registration on the back, you see Dallas, you see Texas, Lone Star State on a lot of places. Avoiding the ULEZ. that's a London charge for driving in certain areas. Interesting. Cops just don't enforce it. Interesting. Texas requires front and back plates. Interesting. Pack One, how are you? We had dinner last night. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you for everything. That was lovely. And I've got your T-shirt on. I'll try and show it in a minute, but we are getting very close to the corner of Main Street and Houston Street, which is where the motorcade turned right. So this is the route of the presidential motorcade in 1963. I don't have front plates on my sports car, says Steve. I'm glad you've got a sports car, mate. I haven't even got a sports car to worry about that. So there you go. Just gonna come into the junction of Market. I'm not going to cross over here because this guy's going to come and run me over. He's got a front plate. A fine citizen. Interesting, they don't enforce it. Interesting. Hi Phil from Pirate Pete's Travels. Hi John, will you? Hi John, thanks for your comment. Cheers mate. Europa, how did you decide on Dallas as your vacation destination? Cheers. Yeah, I was always interested in the assassination, but not from a kind of a perspective of who shot Kennedy, but more from the people that were in Dealey Plaza at the time, and it was just interesting. It's always been interesting to me, always. And since I was about 11 years old, really, I've just always wanted to come here. And like I said, everyone's got an opinion on what. That's a nice old car here. Should we have a look? So it's a Plymouth. It's got no plate on the front. How old's this? Got any old car enthusiasts out there? Let me know how old it is. There it is. Antique auto. Any ideas how old that is? It's a great condition, that one. Fantastic. Florida doesn't have front license plates, says Michael. Thank you very much. It's a Plymouth Barracuda, early 70s. Wow. I mean, to me that looks like a 60s car, but early 70s kind of the same thing. But wow, look at the state of that. That's fantastic. Great, even though it's parked on a crossing, we won't ignore that. Don't forget the photo showing a young George Bush Senior outside the book depository. Well, he was in town. I can tell you he was in town as well on that day. Chicky Dicky was here. Richard Nixon got defeated by Kennedy in the election. He was also a lawyer, and he became. He was here for a Pepsi. He was on the board of Pepsi Cola, and he was here for a board meeting or a convention or something like that, and he was actually in Dallas that day, and he took off about 10 minutes before Air Force One took off to return to Washington. Even the cops are soaked. Oh, the Songkran. Hey, listen, I'm really, really pleased that you're having a nice time, Songkran, but it's just not for me, really. Don't forget, GB was working for the, George Bush was working for the CIA at the time. Yeah, wasn't he head of the CIA at one time? Something like that. All right, here we go. Here is Dealey Plaza. There's not a lot of people here today, really. That's the Texas School Book Depository, which is Houston Street. And the famous window is this one there. I've been inside this building, which is now called the Dallas Administration Building, and also the 6th floor museum. And I have to say, I was a little disappointed, really. I know quite a lot about the history, and there was a lot of sort of photos and readable things that you had to read. There wasn't a lot of actual stuff on show, and I found it a little bit disappointing. And it's expensive as well. And I asked him, I had a big coat on me, and I says, can I check my coat? No, you can't check your coat. There's no toilets inside. There's a really, really overpriced gift shop in there. And I have to say, I was a little disappointed in there. There's nothing that I really learned that was new. But we're going to walk around the Sixth Floor Museum, round the back, and so we'll get to the grassy knoll. Because there'll be less people around. I think we're okay to walk now. Thanks for tuning in, everyone, anyway. Appreciated. It's the window that's open. It's not. They've actually set up, okay, I'm going to take my life into me own hands here and walk. Misteregg dies in road accident in historical Dallas site. Are you ready? Let's walk over. Cool. So again, sorry about the wind. It is a little bit windy. There's not a lot of people. There's usually quite a lot of people around here. When I came, I've been here about the fourth time I've been here now. Now, I know Bill wanted me to show you this. So here it is. It's formerly the Texas School Book Depository. It goes on about the historical bit, but here's the bit that Bill wanted to show you, the word allegedly. Okay, Harvey Lee, Harvey Oswald, allegedly. Okay, Bill, we've shown it you now. I hope you're happy. Umbrella Man, I'll show you exactly where Umbrella Man was standing. Umbrella Man was a guy called Stephen, I think it was Witz or Kitts or something like that. Witz. And I always thought Umbrella Man was a British guy because he got an umbrella and he was actually protesting to JFK's JFK about his father, who was Joseph Kennedy, who was, and here we go, ambassador to the courts of St. James, or American ambassador, basically, to the UK in the 1930s and 1940s. This is Joseph Kennedy, JFK's dad, and he was in agreement with then Prime Minister Neville Chamberlain about his appeasement of Adolf Hitler. So we went to, for those of you who don't know, Neville Chamberlain, who was from Birmingham, went to Berlin, spoke to Adolf Hitler, and I wonder what flag that is, not sure. Went to Adolf Hitler and had a signed agreement that he would not invade Poland. Yeah, it didn't quite go that very well, but anyway, Stephen Witt, I can't remember his name, Umbrella Man, stood around about here. So there was a sign here in the old days called, it's a Palestinian flag, okay, cheers, hi Tulip. There was a sign around about here which was called a Stemmons Freeway sign, which is the sign that you can see on the Zapruder film that blocks the view of the car for a short while. And Umbrella Man was just to the right of that, so he was around about here. Now, over there on the grass there was a guy who was filming both in a cine camera and also taking photos, who was called, get this, Charles Bronson. So there are two famous Charles Bronsons. There's obviously the film star, and there's also the British convict in the UK, who's Britain's hardest man sort of thing, who changed his name to Charles Bronson. But there was another Charles Bronson, and Charles Bronson was standing right over there, and he took a photo. And if you can see the Charles Bronson photo, you can see Umbrella Man, but he's hit the deck because the shots have been fired already. Yeah, Umbrella Man. Also, if you research the Philip Willis photo, you can see Umbrella Man just about in that. Next door to Umbrella Man was the Newman family, who was standing around about where that gentleman is there. And the Newman family were here. It was Gail and Bill Newman and their two children, one of whom was called Bill as well. And they had famously filmed hitting the deck and protecting their children as the car went off. And that photograph was taken around about here from White House press photographer who was called Atkins. I can't remember his first name, but it was around about there as the car was speeding off to the underpass. Jackie Kennedy, who was in the car, seems to be a lot of tourists around, says Dante. There's a lot more than this usually. I think the weather's sort of put people down. Also, the sixth floor museum is closed today, so not a lot of people have come there. So what was I saying? Oh yeah, Jackie Kennedy, when she came along here with a car, she was looking at the underpass here, the famous triple underpass, and she said, oh, that's going to be nice, because it was a really hot day, and she'd been told that it wasn't going to be so hot. So she was wearing that famous Chanel pink suit with a pillowbox hat, and she was hot, and she goes, oh, that's going to be nice when we go in the underpass, it's going to be nice and cool, and she's going to cool off. And of course, just seconds later, the unthinkable happened. I'm going to do a few hellos, little different infrastructure than Pattaya, correct, Steve? Looks so sterile compared to Thailand. It is, but you know what? There's good infrastructure here. I know I moan about the public transport, and I think public transport in Thailand is better than Dallas. But yeah, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to go on this. I'm on the grassy knoll, by the way, but I'm going to just go around here because there's a lot of people looking at me wondering who I am. Abraham Zapruder's famous film was shot from that pedestal just there, with his secretary propping him up, and not for the first time, I've heard. Copy, yeah, it was a copy suit. She didn't want to. There was something about. She didn't want to. There was something like She didn't want to spend a lot of money on her clothes, because she was getting criticised in the press for how much money she was spending on her wardrobe. So she had an American designer copy a Chanel suit. Bill, there you go. Geoslate, it's because the majority of towns and city are built specifically for cars and transportation. Indeed, correct. Thank you for that, Geoslayer. If I missed anybody's comments out, I do apologise. Nice everyone to join in. Right, I'm going to go around the back, around here. There's a few people selling stuff and everything on the grassy knoll, so I'm just going to walk past them and go on to is Bill's favourite place, the picket fence. Badgeman. So this is allegedly where the famous Badgeman was, or Black Dog. This is the picket fence, and to be honest, if you can see here, you can see the X. I'm not a big fan of the X's on the road. The X's are where the shots happen, and that was the fatal shot there. The X, where that black car's just going over now. I'm not a big fan of the X's. I just think it's a little bit gory. But this was the shot, wasn't it? This was the shot. I don't think it happened, but this was the shot. Badgeman, or what is it? Black Dog, is it, or whatever? Anyway, what have you enjoyed the most, Phil, in Texas, says Dante? The food. Texas barbecue. Okay, I've only had turkey and brisket at the moment. I haven't had the ribs yet, but my goodness, the food is lovely, but a little bit too much. You know, I've been watching me weight. Well, I'm definitely not going to be the same weight as I was when I came. I'm going to probably put a few kilos on. When she married, I was Statalonasis and could wear what she wanted. Indeed, Toby. And not a very popular decision, especially with her children, I have to say. But hey, who are we? People deal with grief in all different ways. So anyway, it was horrible for her, you've got to admit, everybody, Toby and everyone. She lost a child who was born premature. She then lost her husband in horrifying circumstances. It must have been awful for her, and she probably just wanted some security in her life. I don't know. Anyway, the grassy knoll, yeah, we're here. Well, the grassy knoll's over there. Interestingly, on these steps here, there was a guy, I've forgotten his name now, Norman somebody, or Mr. Norman, who was the groundskeeper for Dealey Plaza, and he used to mow the lawns and everything. He was standing here, but there was a guy to his left, and there was a guy in front of him who have never ever been identified at all. And people have said, well, it could have been them. But actually, if you look at them, they ain't firing no guns. But it's just interesting that they've never ever been identified. Great show. Would love to visit one day, says Michael. Thanks, mate. Look, I mean, it's just an absolute... I just had to do it in my life, you know, while I've got... You know what? I was thinking today, Michael, this is going to be a bit deep, right? But I just want to go to the triple underpass so you can see things a bit better. I'm sitting in this very, very nice hotel in Dallas, in my beautiful bed. I don't usually sleep on... I have got a bed, but I don't sleep on one. As you know, I sleep on a sofa. And I've got... what else? I've got, you know, a little bit of money in the bank. I'm at my number one place in the world that I've always wanted to be. And I was thinking, this is as good as it gets. This is the pinnacle. How long is it going to be until, you know, I'm on Skid Row? And I'm sitting there on Skid Row and saying, oh, do you remember when I was in Dallas in that 4-star hotel, sitting in my crisply iron sheets and everything? It will happen, I know. Just turned in, would love to visit there. Thank you, Lee. When Trump wins in November, good for you. Best of luck. Let's keep the, I'd rather keep the political stuff off, but hey, it's up to you. But good luck. We have the bum gum in America now. It's a big seller. I tell you what, it's one thing I've missed in my 4-star bloody hotel is the fact that there ain't no bum guns. So I've had to bring a lot of wet wipes with me. Oh, big TMI? I think so. So that's a nice little shot, isn't it? It's okay, Lee, don't worry. I just... doesn't, you haven't done anything wrong, mate. Don't worry. You're cool. Bum guns only in 5-star hotels. I'll have to check next time I'm on booking.com. I'll have to look for bum gun option. Thank you. Thanks, Lee. You should add to or sling to your list, Phil. The last living survivor is often found there signing his book. Very moving. So that's Tool Slung. Well, the last survivor really is Clinton Hill, the Secret Service agent who jumped on the back of, we call it the boot. Let me just walk away from this guy playing really, really loud music. He jumped on the boot or the trunk of the presidential limousine and sort of held onto it. And I think he's nearly approaching 90 now. He's got COPD. He's not long for this earth. But he really is the last survivor. Also, of course, Ruth Payne, who was Maria Oswald's, the lady who owned the house where Maria and Lee Oswald lived. She's still alive. And also, of course, Marina Oswald's still alive. So, I mean, to be honest, the last two didn't actually witness the assassination. But yeah, I know what you mean. 61 years ago, nearly. Is that guy stopped playing that fucking music? Yeah. Let's not wear headphones. Let's just blast music out. That's just a bit like Pattaya, isn't it, really? Our bum gun is connected to the toilet seat, says Juice Slayer. Excellent. You need bum guns. I'm just going to walk over here, although there is a homeless man. I think he's walking along the train track, so you're all right. They say there are bullet marks on the curb. Yes, so let me just explain. I don't want the phone to fall off, so I'm going to put my hand over it. But right here, just down here, there was a man called James Tague. James Tague was... I never believed James Tague for years. But I have to believe him. Because, you know, he's got photos and it was well documented, and he actually appeared before the Warren Commission as well. There you go, I've set off Bill now, the Warren report. But he was standing around about here, and he got hit, and he had blood on his cheek, and he got hit by a piece of shrapnel, either from the curbside here or from an actual piece of a part of a bullet. and he was the third victim, if you like, of the shooting that took place. And yeah, James Tay was here, and there was a piece of curb that was removed not till about the middle of December by the FBI here. It's not there anymore, by the way. By the way, can we all see the drain cover that famously somebody said, there it is there, the drain cover right in the middle of your screen. That is where somebody said somebody popped out of there and fired a shot. Like I said, look, there's been over 3,000 books written about what happened here in 1963, and everybody's got an opinion, and I'm happy to discuss, you know, people's opinions. But I don't think being fired on from an umbrella was one, fired on from the drain was another. There you go. Sorry if you've covered it, but is the grassy knoll still there? Yes, Lee. We've just been on it. We're going to go back there in a minute, if that's all right with you. Yeah, so the grassy... There were a lot of bullets flying around that day. Yeah, Bill, they're coming for... Bill, quick, hide! Hide, Bill, they're coming. I'll cover for you. But I don't know Bill, I've never met him. Yeah, so where that couple is, you can just see. So that in front of there is the grassy knoll. It's actually, I don't know why it's not called an embankment. It was actually called the grassy knoll first by a guy, I've got to get this right now, Merriman Smith. Merriman Smith was the UPI, United Press International, correspondent who was in the first press car behind the first press car in the convoy. And Merriman Smith was in there with a guy called Jack Bell. Jack Bell worked for Associated Press, AP. Merriman Smith managed to get some kind of mobile phone that was in the car. Now, I didn't know there were mobile phones in 1963, but apparently there were. And Merriman Smith grabbed the phone and started dictating copy. And he called the embankment, here comes the Palestinian flag again. He called the embankment the grassy knoll for the first time. Merriman Smith actually went on to win a Pulitzer Prize for his reporting that day. Jack Bell didn't get the phone. They started a fight in the car, Merriman Smith and Jack Bell, because Jack Bell wanted the phone so he could phone his copy in. And they started fighting each other in the car. I love that. This is what I love about the assassination. It's not like, oh, it was the CIA, it was George Bush, you know. I'm over that. And there's nothing wrong with you having opinions on that. That's cool. But I'm over that now. I'm more interested in stories like that. Two guys fighting for a radio phone after the assassination took place. We're going to go back to the grassy knoll just for Lee. By the way, about somewhere in this car park, maybe it was by that tree, or maybe in front of that tree, there used to be an observation tower, because there's a railway line that runs here, right here. And there was a guy in the observation tower, it's long gone, called, I think it was Lee Bowers, and he was actually in the tower. He was his job to, he was the signalman, that was it, he was the signalman for all the trains. All these motorways weren't here then. And Lee Bowers, when he was first interviewed by Officer, I've got to get his name right, Officer Boone, who ran up the embankment. It's not a grassy knoll, it's an embankment. So he ran up the embankment and he saw Lee Bowers and he said, did you see anyone here? Did you see anything suspicious? No. Didn't see anything suspicious, didn't see anyone firing, didn't see any guns, didn't see any smoke. And then about 3 months later, when he knew there was a bit of money in it, Lee Bowers started changing his story. Oh, I saw a puff of smoke. I saw some people in the car park, etc., etc. And then he was shown in the JFK movie, Oliver Stone's movie. He was a guy that wears some very sort of thick glasses, and he died soon after in a car crash, and people started figuring that it might have been a little bit strange. But there you go, people die in car accidents all the time. But there you go. So Lee Barrows' tower, I think it was about here. I think it must have been where you can see these cars here. That's where Lee Barrows' tower was. And as you can see, all these motorways are new, but at the time you could see for miles and miles down there, and he was a signalman. And actually, when he died, about 3 years later, he was like really, really rich. Isn't that weird? He went from being a signalman for the trains to like, he had some business, and he was like a multimillionaire in a few years. Interesting. All right, there's the grassy knoll for all you lot. Car park looks the same as those days. I mean, it's been expanded massively, and it's been so the car park was basically a lot of dust, and where you can see that white car there, that's where the car park ended, and there was just a dust trap there. But it's been expanded because the sixth floor museum, which is closed today, so there's not many cars there. Are you wearing a Songkran shirt? No, Bushman, I'm not. You know how I don't like Songkran. The Beatles played my town on the day Kennedy was assassinated. Charlie, it was the day they released one of their singles or albums. Cole Kenyon from Cole's Thailand told me that. It was on the very day. And of course, a little bit later after that, they came over to America, did the Ed Sullivan Show, and as they say, the rest is history. Okay, thanks, thank you. All that cafe food over there will put the pounds back on. Bushman, you're not kidding. I have to say, right at the beginning of this, if you want to go back a little bit later, there we go, there's the homeless people urinal vehicle, or public train as they're known. Everyone stinks of piss, man. It's so bad. So bad. What was I saying? If you go back to the start of the stream, you'll see a place called the Metropolitan, which has got the best coffee. American coffee is terrible. Most of it is machine coffee, and you also they like it watered down. They like it watered down. But this Metropolitan cafe makes really, really nice espresso, so highly recommended. Phil, you willingly went to Texas. Yes, Daniel, it's my number one bucket list, mate. Number one bucket list, so I'm really pleased that I have. We're going to walk around here. So, for those of you that have seen the Zapruder film, this is where that was shot, and it was shot on an 8mm camera, which is in the building now on my right, which is the sixth floor museum, formerly known as the Texas School Book Depository. Actually, previously to that, I think it was known as the Singh building or something like that. The Singh building, it had a lot of owners in the 1950s. So Abraham Zapruder and his secretary stood on there and filmed the famous Zapruder film, which you've all seen. And as where those guys are walking now, that's where the Stemmons Freeway sign was. So that area there was kind of blocked out, and that's when it's thought that maybe the second shot happened. With the Beatles, Phil. Don't Brits typically drink instant coffee? I think that's changing a little bit now. I think there's a big coffee culture in Britain, certainly in Australia. And by the way, everybody I meet here thinks I'm Australian. Second shooter was up there. Well, that's what people think. That's what people think. I'm not saying, I mean, I've got my views, but I don't care really, like I said. Well, I'm going to try and cross the road. Like I've said before, the crosses on the road, the X where the third shot took place, I'm not a big fan. I just think it's a little bit disrespectful. There's another thing as well. In the sixth floor museum, which is over there, you can kind of see, so it's the tree that is there was not as full as it is there, but that was the shot. Let's not go there. Right, I can cross. In the sixth floor museum, there is a shirt which was worn on the day by Dr. McLennan or Dr. Mac. He was on the surgical staff of Parkland Hospital where President Kennedy was took, along with Governor Connolly, and he was given a lecture at the time, and he didn't have time to get his scrubs on when he was treating President Kennedy in Trauma Room 1, and his shirt got very blooded with the blood and the brain material that was falling out of his head. Dr. Mack was right at the head of President Kennedy's stretcher, and he saved his shirt. The hospital sent his suit to the cleaners, but he saved his shirt, and his bloodied shirt is on display in the Texas School Book Depository, now the sixth floor museum, and I thought that was a bit tasteless, to be honest. But I don't really want to see about it. There it is. There is the School Book Depository, and there is the shop. In Texas, if you ask for a well-done steak, you'll be asked to leave. Yeah, I've heard it all. I've heard all the stories. Oh, it's got to. If a steak doesn't walk itself to the plates, then you don't order it. I don't mind well done. My mom used to say, when they used to say, "How do you want your steak?" she always used to say, "Cremated." How are the taxis? Is it expensive? So I got a taxi in Fort Worth yesterday. No, not really. I don't think so. Like, I'm going like maybe 10, 15 kilometers, and it was about $8 on Uber. So I don't think so. I've got nothing to compare it to really, because I'm not really. I don't live here, but I didn't think it was particularly expensive. No. Okay, Geo Slayer says taxis are expensive. Well, compared to Bolt and Grab in Pattaya, of course it's going to be expensive, but there you go. So let's tell you a couple of things that happen here. Let's come back a little bit. So standing just here were the two ladies that you've probably seen in the Zapruder film. One was wearing a red coat and one was taking a photograph, and they were Jean Hill and her friend Mary Ann Moorman. And I say friend because after the shooting they fell out massively because Jean Hill had a different recollection, if you like, of what happened than to Mary Ann Moorman. So if you look at the Zapruder film, Jean Hill was standing around about here, and then she was on the left, and that's it, and her friend Mary Ann Moorman's to the right. Mary Ann Moorman was taking a Polaroid picture at the time. Remember Polaroid cameras? That sort of Instamatic camera with, you pulled the film out of the camera, and it took a while the photo to develop, and then it developed. Well, Mary Ann Moorman's photo is not particularly good quality because it's a Instamatic, but it's right in a completely 180 degree opposite to Zapruder, so you could see everything that was behind. You can see Abraham Zapruder and Mrs. Marilyn, his secretary, and you can see all of the grassy knoll and the picket fence as well in that photo. Now, it's not particularly in good focus and it's not good quality, but if you search for the Mary Ann Moorman photo, you'll see that photo. And for those people that say there was a gunman in the picket fence or whatever, just take a look for yourself. I'm not going to tell you anything, but there you go. Hello, Phil from Davlad. Hello. Standing next to that lady, Jean Hill, who was here, was a guy called Howard Brennan. And I'm wrong. Howard Brennan was over there. I'm wrong. It was Charles Brem. he's there with his 5-year-old son. You can see them. It's like a man and a little boy. He's holding a little boy's hand. Charles Brem's got a great story. He was originally took to the police station, and people thought he was the assassin. And he was getting abused. People were throwing things, swearing at him, spitting at him. And they didn't realise he was a witness, so they took him in as a witness. And before he came to Dealey Plaza that day, he was doing some meat for the evening dinner. And he put some meat in the oven, and then he came here. And he was a long time giving press statements and giving his statement to the police and the FBI and the CIA. And he said, I need to send a message back home. Can I make a phone call? And they says, no, you can't make a phone call, but we can send a message for you. We can phone a message. And he goes, okay, this is the number. Can you please call, I can't remember the guy's name, Charlie or whatever. And can you tell him, turn off the oven, the meat is done. That was the message. Well, to him, it was just like a very innocent message about the fact that his food was in the oven. To the CIA, this was some kind of coded Cold War message, and it became even more suspicious of Charles Brem then, which is a shame because he's with his 5-year-old son. I have to say, Charles Brem was very, very seriously affected by the assassination. He was crying when he was giving press interviews that day, and he was affected for it for the rest of his life. Next to Charles Brem was a lady dressed in a headscarf and a big mac, commonly known as the babushka lady. And the babushka lady was right here. And she was called the babushka lady because that scarf was kind of like a Russian babushka. And don't forget, you have to remember it was the Cold War at the time. And she's never been identified, although people have come forward and says they were the babushka lady, including a 17-year-old girl. But if you look at the photo of the babushka lady, she doesn't look 17. There's no way a 17-year-old is dressing like that, in my opinion. But there you go. It's my opinion. And she's never been identified. But she was making a film. I'm sorry about the wind and the audio. She was making a film or taking photos. And those have never been recovered either. And a lot of people have said that's very strange. So the babushka lady right here. Let's have a look at a few. Everyone that's taken a taxi from Bangkok Airport for 1,200 baht, that distance in America will cost like $300, $400. Yes, Phil explains history. It's just my mastermind subject, I'm sorry. If you find this boring, I do apologise. So the rumours aren't true then, Mr. Egg didn't get arrested at customs. No, I've got nothing on me, although I've got quite a few presents to take back home for some of the staff when I get home. So there you go. Phil sounds knowledgeable on the subject. I can sound knowledgeable on a lot of things, Tulip. It doesn't mean I am. Hey, he's got no front licence plate, you lawbreaker. Get in. Right, that's about it then. I don't know what to say now. I don't really want to go up there because there's too many people, and I'll start thinking, what's that Australian doing? And they go, we'll go and see old man Dealey, who actually built this plaza in the 1940s. He was some kind of Texas businessman, and he wanted to build this park as a place of peace and recreation. And he wanted his name, Dealey, associated with peace and happiness after he died. Didn't quite go very well, did it? Never mind. We'll have a look at old man Dealey, and then we'll call it a day. I really do appreciate you. Oh, there he is. He's over there. There he is. Oh, you think I can cross over here? It's only one way. Oh, no, it's not. It's two ways. I'm going to get killed here, aren't I? Jaywalking. Oh, no, I better not jaywalk. Here we go. Oh, we can cross. Oh, that unmistakable smell of cannabis. Even in Texas. Lovely. Here he is, old man Dealey. There you go. Let's do a few comments before we finish. Oh, this guy in the green shirt, he likes taking people around and taking their money. Phil, you should start doing tours of Pattaya. Yeah, that would be a bit boring, wouldn't it? No, actually, it would be quite interesting, but I don't think people are that interested, really, in the history of Pattaya. I don't know. The irony, yes. The wind is from that very large meal you just had. Yeah, man. I had this massive breakfast. I thought the breakfast was free in the hotel. And then they presented me with an extortionate bill. So never mind. Yeah, I've had a lot to eat today. How do you remember all these names? Yet sometimes you forget staff's names. Because I've been studying this for a long time. And the staff come and go, don't they? The staff come and go, but Gene Hill never changes. There we go. GB Dealey's memorial. There he is. Erected this monument to commemorate the service and preserve the example of a great, good and useful life. There you go. And he built this plaza. What could possibly go wrong? Poor old man. Right, that's it then, folks. I'm going to say goodnight. Thanks for tuning in. Notice, everyone, not a single motorbike. Yeah, there was a few motorbikes. I've seen a few motorbikes, but they're all sort of... The Harley Davidsons do well here. There's no scooters, that's for sure. But there's a lot of Harleys. Right, I'm going to jaywalk now. Are you ready? In 3, 2, 1... And I'm good. Folks, it's been lovely talking to you. Should we keep going? Do you want me to... I'm going to walk back to the train station now and sit in the urine-soaked train back home. Is that all right? Open spaces everywhere, yes. Are you still jet-lagged? Yes. And I've had a lot of pains in my leg, one of my legs, which is a little bit worrying because of obviously DVT and all that. And I was a bit worried that maybe, you know, I was going to have my leg amputated because I do worry about things like that. But actually, since I've been doing this live stream, it's kind of gone, which is good. How are we doing for time? Oh, we've been over the hour. Keep going. Been great, Phil. I'm going to keep going. All right, I'm just going to walk back to the train station. I'm going to have to. I'll take you to American Airlines Stadium, home of the Dallas basketball team. Hint, quote, I don't know. Right, let's come across. Dallas has good hospitals for amputation. Thank you. You're a natural. Thank you, Michael. Hope it goes to the big Texan for the 70th. I'd love to have a really, really big steak, but not today. I'm absolutely full. Right. I've got a red sign, walking helps. Yeah, absolutely right. You are right. I think it might be DVT. Okay. I've got 16 seconds to cross here. Here we go. La-da-da. Oh, yeah. How much is your tour?
The city tour is 20 for the
yeah.
For one loop, and then the hop on, hop off is $5 more.
Where'd you go?
All around downtown Dallas.
Yeah.
The best way to get acquainted with the city, you can stay on it for one loop or hop on, hop off.
Oh, okay. $20. I might do that tomorrow.
But we're closed tomorrow.
Oh, okay.
We'll back up on Thursday, but I think on Thursday it's just gonna be the JFK tour.
Okay.
So.
Where'd you go on a JFK tour? Where'd you go on a JFK tour?
The motorcade route. The
yeah.
5-minute time down at Lee Harvey Oswald.
Yeah.
Oswald's grooming house. The Tippett.
Okay. What happened at the grooming house? Because I tried to book there and the lady didn't answer the phone. Is she okay?
I'm not sure.
Okay. Because I went there and there was nobody there. All right. Thank you so much for your information. Thank you. Yeah. Oswald's grooming house is where he walked from when he returned. He actually caught a bus. So this is Elm Street. And Oswald caught a bus a little bit down there. And the bus wasn't really going anywhere because there was a bit of a traffic jam because apparently something had happened. And the police were swarming on on Dealey Plaza. So he got off the bus, but he caught the bus down there. Yeah, so I went to, when Oswald eventually got to his rooming house is in, oh man, Irving, not Irving, that's where his other house is. I can't remember where it is, but anyway, I went there because there's a lady there who is the granddaughter of the woman that actually rented it to Oswald, and she shows you around the house. And I was really looking forward to seeing that, but unfortunately, she didn't answer the phone and she wasn't at the house, and the house looks really like run down now, and I'm not quite sure. I hope she's okay. Right, how are we doing? I thought you said grooming house. No, rooming house. I mean, we call it a boarding house in England, but obviously, you know, we gave you, America, we gave you a language. You know what I mean? We gave you a language and you screwed it up. I'm about 50 miles from Birmingham. Oh, lovely. What's the weather like back in Brum? As I say, it's about 24 degrees here today in downtown Dallas. And if you're just joining us, I've been walking around Texas. Or my uncle used to live in Texas for a while because he worked for Ford Motor Company. He called it Texas because he didn't like it. You can spend the $200 to over there. Thanks. Yeah, so anyway, I walked from Oswald's house. I did the walk he basically was supposed to have done. We have to say that. So the area where Officer J.D. Tibbet was murdered, and then into the Texas Theatre, I did that walk. And by the way, I did it in about 12 minutes. So it's very doable. It's been a stormy day today. Okay, thanks for that. Stormy. Bill gets upset when you talk about stormy. America has every language. Yeah, even the announcements on the urine-soaked public transport is in dual language. It's in in Spanish, I mean. My Spanish is coming on well. And where Oswald's rooming house is, and where Tibbet was shot, and where the Texas Theatre is, it's kind of the hood there. And there's a lot of Mexican kind of gangsters hanging out, just sort of looking at you really funny. And I went into this laundrette because I was looking at maybe using the laundrette to wash my clothes, bizarrely enough. And I just went in there, and it was like, you know that scene in a Western where some guy walks into a bar and he walks through them doors that are on a hinge and the piano's playing and the piano stops, you know. Yeah, it was like that. The piano stopped. And I had about 50 pairs of eyes on me, and I thought, yeah, maybe I'll wash my clothes somewhere else. The reason why the UK is colonised, yes. Saloon, thank you. Tornado in Staffordshire today. Staffs today, Newcastle area. Interesting. You know, I was just sitting around on Saturday and I got this alert message on my watch and on my phone. Amber Alert, and it was about a missing child that had been abducted, and it was asking people to look around. And I thought that was a really kind of cool idea to do that. You know, on the lookout for this child being abducted, and just to send it out over the cellular network. I thought that was a good idea. Weather in Kidderminster is 8 degrees. Fantastic. Very nice. I like that. I do miss Kiddie. Lovely times in Kiddie. Nice chip shops in Kiddie back in the 70s. They were probably confused you called it a laundrette. What is it then? A laundromat? Or a washateria or something? Right, I'm going to go, folks. I've had a lovely time. We've had fun, but we've got to run. Thanks for the mods for keeping it all clean, as always. Don't forget, if you're interested in Pattaya stuff and you want to keep the channel ticking over from just £2 a month, you can do that. From just £2 a month, become a member of the channel. Helps to pay for, not my expensive holidays, I pay for them myself, but for all the equipment, the lights and the cameras and everything, and the software. So if you want to become a member, there's a lot more content about what happens here, what happens in Pattaya, back in Pattaya, and you can join and become a member from just £2 a month. It's all good. See you in the bar next week. But until then, out of here. Thanks everyone. Hope you had a good one. Take care. Bye bye.